Hello again, my name is MattKoch, and to begin, adopting the practice of seeing God as the main character within biblical narrative makes the way you engage in text differ. Instead of focusing more on the human side of text, now we can try and determine God's focus and intentions on the same situations. Instead of trying to understand the human events and characters, we can think deeper on how God's actions and purposes can determine the current event. We can try and determine how God's overarching plan unfolds through looking through a different lens in the same stories we have seen before, and we may not have seen the same message. The common human characters that we usually notice when looking through a human lens suddenly turns their actions into small parts of God's overall plan. And through putting God as our main character, you can hope to start gaining a sense of what God's overall plan for us is. With God as the main character in our narratives, it can help lead us to try and understand his nature, and how he works with us humans to help accomplish his plan for our world. This could lead you to doing many things differently than you have done previously, and could lead us to different perspectives on chapters we have read again and again. One example of these stories is with Joseph in Genesis, which we just read recently. In a traditional reading of Joseph, you might tend to focus more on Joseph's personal story, with his brothers, his dreams, and the entire story of Egypt, and how he eventually forgives his brothers and family. Through the human lens, Joseph's story is one of resilience and forgiveness. If you take the same story of Joseph and use the lens of God as the main character, you shift your focus on how God's plan has unfolded throughout Joseph's life, and how Joseph's trials were a part of God's plan to preserve his people and to demonstrate faithfulness. If we look at Joseph's story in Genesis, we can see that through the lens of God as the main character, that Joseph's dreams of the sheaves of grain and the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing to him are not just dreams, but the vision in which God has planned for Joseph, but not only for him, but for the people as well. In Genesis 50:20, Joseph says to his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done." Joseph admits that he's not the main character in his own story, but that God is and will always be. So why don't we acknowledge this as well, and begin to read as if God is the main characters of the narratives we see? God may very well be the main character in our own lives as well, as we walk through the path he has made for us. I believe putting God as the main character can help us walk in his path even better than we could before. Basically, to summarize, seeing God as the main character throughout biblical narratives allows you to delve deeper into his plans rather than just admiring the human adventure. It promotes a deeper thinking that I believe can help us to develop spiritually. Looking deeper into God's plans and actions can lead to us as the readers to create new ideas and thought patterns on themes that may very well have gone over our heads beforehand. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.